All right, so in less than 1 month, 2020 will finally come to an end. It's felt like an entire decade being jammed into a single year, but in less than 30 days, we'll be into 2021. So I wanted to start looking forward to what Nintendo has in store for us for that year, because while people are looking at Nintendo right now as being kind of quiet over the last few months, which a lot of it has to do with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X launching, taking up the majority of the news cycle because they're brand new systems, a new generation, it's exciting stuff. I think Nintendo's quietly been preparing what will be the Switch's best, I'm going to say 12 to 16 months that are coming up in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. And I wanted to go over that here today with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, though, make sure you like it down below. Helps out a ton. And if you're new to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with this video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Skyforge. On February 4th, Skyforge will be available on the Nintendo Switch for the first time, allowing you to take the full Skyforge experience with you on the go. Explore and defend a massive, constantly evolving universe whenever and wherever you want 24/7. Skyforge is completely free to download with no Nintendo Online subscription required to play, and Founders Packs will be available to help get you started with epic weapons and awesome cosmetics. For a limited time, players can receive free launch gifts after completing the tutorial, which includes Cyber Warrior costume, Halo of Vows, glowing god eyes, and more. Whether you're in TV, tabletop, or handheld mode, the controls are completely optimized for the Switch with intuitive setups and powerful attacks unique to each class. Sign up for Skyforge using the link below to be the first to receive exclusive gifts. Once again, thanks to Skyforge for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so first, let's start with where the Switch is right now. Coming up on 70 million units, although it's probably already there with how hype it is during the holiday season. It's been very difficult to find, and the Black Friday bundle has really worked to push this system ahead, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming with a little subscription for the Nintendo Switch Online service and the new Switch system, not the old one like they tried to pull on us last year. So the Switch, despite having, as people have said, a quieter holiday, a less impressive than usual holiday, I guess, to some people for Nintendo, hasn't affected Switch sales, still rolling along really, really well. If we look at some of the releases that Nintendo has put out for us, I think the biggest reason people see this as being a quieter year for them is because there's like fine print with every single release that they've put out. Example, Mario 3D All-Stars. It's going away in March, and it's a collection of games that some people have already played, all done through emulation. Age of Calamity, which is a game that I wasn't 100% on board with because it was a Warriors game. I'm like, will I get fatigued with a Warriors game? I actually like it. It's a lot of fun. That's still a Warriors game. So not all Zelda fans or people with a Switch are going to be on board with it. It's sold pretty well, though. So far, so good with that. And then Pikmin 3 Deluxe. It's a Wii U port. Some people have probably already played it. So looking at this offering here, this lineup, yeah, I get why people are kind of like mid right now on what Nintendo is offering. But I think 2021 is really going to turn things around because we already know about some of the games coming out, and I think a lot of the games we know about now are coming in the first half of 2021. So let's go over some of the bigger releases that we know about right now for 2021 with the Switch, like Bravely Default 2. That's coming in February. Then we have Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury. That's in February. We just had Persona 5 Scramble for the West announced for February. And then if we move into March, we have Monster Hunter Rise, and then a few other games we don't necessarily know release dates for, but I do think they could both end up in the first half of 2021, being No More Heroes 3 and Shin Megami Tensei 5. If I had to pick between which one of these could fall out of the first half, it would be Shin Megami Tensei 5. I also want to point out Pokemon Snap very well could be a first half of 2021 game. In fact, I kind of expect it, and I could see that end up in like April, maybe early March. That's also very possible. But you kind of see how right now we're already dealing with a lot of games coming out very close together. And that's just the first half of 2021. There's a good chance that the back half of 2021 could be equally as packed when we start looking down what Nintendo could release. And a lot of that has to do with some of the studios within Nintendo having their development cycle reset at the beginning of the Switch's life and starting to come up now. Think of Breath of the Wild as an example. That was a launch game with the Switch. Yeah, the development cycle for that is obviously coming up, as we already know about Breath of the Wild 2, and we're coming up on the Zelda 35th anniversary this year in 2021. So I think most of us expect Breath of the Wild 2 to be a release probably for the holidays, and to follow that up, or maybe even kind of accompany it, a Zelda 35th anniversary collection. Think of what we just saw with the Mario 3D collection. I mean, that would sell like crazy, especially if they had a really cool collector's edition. They have to put time and effort into that one. Don't do what you did with the Mario 3D collection. Just kind of put it out there. And if we're kind of going along with that idea, there's a good chance we could see another 3D Mario game, like a brand new Mario Odyssey 2 style game, something like that, as that game even came out in the first year. I mean, that was a year where we had a brand new 3D Zelda and a brand new big 3D Mario game. I almost wonder if they could do the same thing again in 2021, or at least within 6 months of each other, the end of 2021 going into the beginning of 2022. Because remember, Nintendo tends to plan all this stuff out by their fiscal years, and their fiscal year coming up will start at the beginning of April and then run all the way through to the end of March. There have also been a lot of talks around Mario Kart 9, a follow-up to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the best-selling game on the Switch. No one out there is doubting that there is another Mario Kart coming at some time, and I kind of feel like Nintendo would want to get that out the door sooner rather than later, because they want to sell it again on the next Switch. It just worked so well for them with Mario Kart 8, so like, why not? And yeah, that could fit in too. I do wonder if having Mario Kart 9, Breath of the Wild 2, and then a new 3D Mario game potentially in 6 months of each other would be too much even for Nintendo to try to market, sell, and kind of pack in. See, the interesting thing with Nintendo right now is because of the way 2020 turned out with remote work, the pandemic, all of this stuff, there have been rumors and talks that some of their games that were supposed to come out this past year actually ended up getting delayed internally a bit because of concerns around deadlines being missed, all of this stuff. And Nintendo would rather delay a game rather than put it out and it appear rushed. There is a quality standard they try to have with their games, of course. So yeah, there's a chance that some games could end up being pushed into 2021 and it start to kind of get packed up pretty quickly towards the back half of the year. I mean, we're still waiting for like Bayonetta 3, and I don't even know what happened to that game, but we assume it's coming out in 2021. We thought it was coming out in 2020. But here we are now in 2021. That could have been a game that maybe missed its deadlines or they were concerned about. And they're like, we'll just push it into 2021. Could be a summer game. Could be a game coming out in September or October as Nintendo tries to fit these in. Then you have to account for a brand new Pokemon game. Remember, we just talked about Pokemon Snap towards the beginning of the year for 2021. But surely there will be a big Pokemon game coming out in the holidays, as the rumors right now are pointing towards a Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake, and that's got people very excited right now until they show the trailer and it's Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Let's go. Those would be some reactions online. I would hope that it's just the mainline traditional style Pokemon game built up as people remember Diamond and Pearl, just brought up with some of the conveniences that we have now for the Pokemon games. And if they really want to do another Let's Go game, they announce it alongside of it, but for like next year, and it's like Gold and Silver or something like that. I think would work really well for a Pokemon announcement. People can look forward to this year. And then, you know what? I think the Let's Go series has started to get some fans on board with it. And yeah, I think people would be excited for Let's Go Gold and Silver. Oh, and I wanted to talk about Metroid Prime here for just 1 minute, because this is going to come up at the beginning of every single year. Is this the year that we finally see something with Metroid Prime 4? And with 2021, it's possible, but I still don't think that game's coming out till 2022. In fact, I think the only Metroid game that could even have a chance at 2021 would be the Metroid Prime trilogy that's been heavily rumored, just to get everyone ready to go for Prime 4. Or maybe that rumored 2D Metroid game that apparently has been worked on for a while now, that could show up in 2021. But I think Prime 4 is still like a year and a half off minimum. I would see this game as a holiday 2022 title. Basically, when you see Metroid Prime Trilogy finally get announced and then we start hearing about that, most likely that means that Prime 4 is just about ready to go, and they'll start their marketing campaign for that as well. But I'll admit, I wouldn't mind a trailer at the Game Awards. Why not? You showed us Bayonetta 3 how early? Give us a look at Metroid Prime 4. Let's see what they have. And finally, let's talk about the big elephant in the room right now, and that has to do with new hardware for the Nintendo Switch. This would be a big driving force for hardware sales in 2021 and then the rest of the generation, because there are a lot of people who would just get a new Switch even if they already had one, or if they had a Switch Lite and then a Switch, and they're like, oh, I guess I'll get the new Nintendo Switch. You're just selling people the same hardware again, and that would, of course, work to build up their install base even further. Now, there have been rumors about this for what feels like since before the Switch came out, I think, at this point. But what I think is going to happen here is a Switch revision that is not overly powerful. I think people are looking at this like a Switch Pro, like how we see a PS4 go to a PS4 Pro. I just think they will make some improvements to the chip itself. It'll probably become even more efficient. Maybe they'll play around with clock speeds, and NVIDIA will come up with a few things. And maybe they'll implement some sort of AI upscaling and play around with 4K, because that keeps coming up in some of these reports. 4K all over the place. The X1 can already do 4K for like video playback. It's not enabled on the Switch, but if they do AI upscaling and enable 4K for games that way, I think it'd be a good method for NVIDIA and Nintendo to kind of improve and get better at it with their games as they roll into next generation over the next few years to when we get the Switch 2, where it certainly will have, I think, AI upscaling through DLSS. It just makes sense. NVIDIA has the technology. It's like implement it into your Tegra chip that they'll probably build from the ground up just about for the next Switch, because it is as popular as it is and it's a proven success. So new Switch hardware would give them time to kind of experiment and work on it, and in turn give us a better overall system that still just plays all of the same games anyway. So you have the option to upgrade, and I think, to be honest, a lot of us probably will if it is like that. Now, the other possibility is that they go in the opposite direction and they introduce a little TV-only box. We already have a handheld-only Switch, so a TV-only Switch is also very possible. People told me before with the Switch Lite as a possibility that it can't happen because it breaks the Switch's concept. Well, there you go. The Switch Lite exists, so I guess technically the TV-only Switch can also exist. So I would look at the time right now, as people are saying, as kind of quiet for Nintendo, as more the calm before the storm. See, we're in the holiday season, and Nintendo's not looking to make any waves currently, as they're looking to continue selling through their stock with the Switch and place emphasis on their newer releases like Age of Calamity, the Mario 3D Collection, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and their evergreen titles like Animal Crossing, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, all of that. But once we get into January, yeah, that Nintendo Direct watch is going to start back up, and rightfully so, because I think Nintendo is going to start hitting left and right with announcements. And yeah, going all the way into the end of next fiscal year, so March 2022, I think it's going to be the Switch's best year and the Switch's best lineup overall, as Nintendo works to climb past the Wii, and then we start talking about the PlayStation 4. And if Nintendo really does have this kind of lineup ready to go, seriously, I think the Switch will probably end up outselling the PlayStation 4 in its life. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. Give me your best predictions for 2021 and then beyond into 2022, and how you think Nintendo's going to play next year after being a little quieter this holiday. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.